Hello, and welcome to this week's Right Actioneers concept or theory of the week. So Right Actioneers was formed as a community. We can call it a tribe, and we will actually have a vote on that a little bit later to see if we want to be a community or a tribe. Tribe's a little bit shorter, easier to spell and a little bit shorter, but I'm not attached to that. Whatever we decide works best will work. The reason we have a community is there's strength in numbers. A like-minded group of people coming together to accomplish one or many things typically is more successful. We have a group dynamic instead of an individual dynamic. However, if you want to take right action, if you want to accomplish your goals and you're committed to that, additional help is often welcomed. So the way I think about communities, I think about the best way I've heard it explained is like an arrow. So, a bow and arrow. So you have an arrow, pretty flexible, and bam, easy to break. If you have 5 arrows, still flexible, almost impossible to break. If you have 100 arrows, no flexibility, quite rigid, virtually impossible to break. So a community is the greater whole. And inside of Right Actioneers, we had a set of rules, we had a set of agreements that we basically say, here's what we're going to honor with each other so we can work together in harmony. That's the 100 arrows. Get down to the 5 arrows, and this is where individuals will start to attract one another. You'll start to find people you like, and the little niches that you like, and you'll kind of come together and you'll work well together. So that's the 5 together, where you'll find this group of people that you're just naturally attracted to. Like attracts like. And then you'll have your individual goals and your individual free choice and ability to kind of act however you want to get the goal accomplished you want. It's you as the individual that does the right meditation. It's you as the individual that does the right thinking. It's you as the individual that takes the action and is responsible for the action. As we kind of continue into this concept of community, there's another component, and this component is what we all contribute to the community. This community has, we're looking at spiritual but not religious people. So we all have our hearts in the right place. But we all have unique experiences. We all have unique personalities. We have unique perspectives, unique way we see things, the unique way we do things. And if you recall, earlier in this week, I posted a link to a free personality profile. It's based on Myers-Briggs. It's a personality profile I've found most conducive to someone who's spiritual, who is really looking at developing spirituality as a lifestyle, has a spiritual intention, if you will, on how they see things. It marries very well inside of right meditation, right thought, and right action. And the overall personality profile that's available to you, you can start to use this in your navigating between your spirituality and your physicality, your real world. So the reason I wanted to do that is to have an insight into ourselves, but more importantly, to have us see that the community is quite diverse in the way we see, perceive, do things. So as we move forward and we start to get a little bit more intimate and you start to get in that group of 5 or 6 people you really trust and like, you'll start to notice that if you have a goal, you can probably come up with 4 or 5 ways to solve that goal. If you kind of present this goal to the community and you have 4 or 5 different people, 4 or 5 different personalities, then you'll have different ways that each of us have solved a problem similar, how we take action, how we think about things. So what will happen is instead of 4, 5, 6, maybe 6 ways to do something, you may end up with 20 or 30 ways to do something. And you take that information, jog it all down in your journal, and you take it into your 3 R's, the right meditation, right thought, right action, the 3 R's process. The 3R process, quiet your mind, individual. You're responsible for your meditation. Quiet your mind, calm your emotions, allow you to see things as they really are. It's a connection between your spirit and your physical mind. If you've heard about the observer, right meditation introduces you to the observer, your spirit self, so you can get impact, you can get input, feedback about that. From there, right meditation, you get in a quiet, calm space. Then you start to go into the thinking process. This is something that, each one of us does differently, but you can start to look at the different options that you have. Your 5 or 6, and then maybe your community's additions of, half a dozen or a dozen or 2 dozen different options. You know yourself. You know in the past how you've succeeded. You know in the past how you've failed. And you can start to weigh all these different options and then come up with what feels right to plan your next step or your next action. You take that next action, your responsibility, single individual, and you get a result. That result is either positive, what you want, or negative, what you don't want, and you continue the process again. More importantly, as you kind of go through this process, if you have failures, you can bring that back to the group and help to have the problem-solving power of multiple people that you know, like, and trust, that you've been attracted together to start to get the results you want. So that's what Right Actioneers is all about. We are a community, maybe a tribe. We'll vote on that later. And together we help each other, one for all for one. Corny, but it really works well here. If you haven't watched the movie Three Musketeers, you can, to see how each of those, the four people who are musketeers and the three musketeers, support each other and have each other's back. So that's the intention, is that we start to develop an abundant life, living, walking our paths with happiness and fulfillment and satisfaction to truly start to have the life we want.